one of those regular 3 monthly checkup things. Mm. It's nothing,
Okay.
no, nothing serious. Yeah. How are you?
I'm living
That you were
fine.
frozen completely. You are again. Mm.
Yeah, I don't know who
Sorry.
freezes. Yeah,
Yeah, I could still see myself move. So yeah,
yeah, I see myself, but you sometimes freeze.
yeah, could be either of us or both.
Yeah,
Who knows? Mm.
the
Yeah,
coverage in
we just have to
Croatia.
live with.
Yeah, the coverage in
You are
Croatia
in
is much better
Croatia,
than you. Yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah. I can join the Wi-Fi here at the hospital, but it's terrible. It's the phone is better.
Mm,
Um, yeah.
okay.
So you're in London now.
Now I'm in Croatia,
All right. Yes.
and I'll stay here for the next 2 3 weeks, maybe. I don't know. My dad is back, and they should go to the country house now, but we are not able to move my mom. Yeah, the
Ah.
country. She forgot about the country house, and she doesn't want to move from what she knows.
Hmm. Hmm.
But last year, when they were there and when they had to come home to Zagreb, then she asked, "Which Zagreb? What is Zagreb? What do I have there?" So she knows what's immediate.
Yes. Yeah. Hmm.
She forgets about everything else. She forgets about us. We figured out that she would be fine with anyone if someone is nice to her. She would forget about us in few days. She
Hmm.
wouldn't miss us. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm. There are feelings connected to that, of course, and many thoughts, and I'm watching them. They're here.
Do you have it? It must be mine. You both froze.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now I don't know if you froze or just not speaking.
Looks frozen, doesn't it?
Yes, I just got your voice then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it will be better with the voice. We won't know if he froze with the voice only.
Yeah. My mine just dropped out and came back. Kat,
Try that.
are you seeing Are you seeing Mayas freeze up or only me?
Just yours, I think, Vince, when it does.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if I drop out, you'll have to each other
Okay.
if you're still there. You should still be right. Yeah. Maya's been talking, but I haven't been hearing her at all. You have been hearing her okay, eh?
Only just. She hasn't said much since she started dropping out,
Yeah.
but I can hear.
Hmm.
I mean, I only said there's a dumpster fire around me and I'm coping well. This is basically it. Did we freeze again? Or
Yeah. Hmm. All right. So tell me how you've been, Kat. Maybe I'll hear you.
Hmm, really struggling at the moment.
Okay.
I feel it's as if the kind of higher I get with seeing things for what they are, stepping back and knowing that everything is just something I'm aware of, the old patterns, the old loops, the old habits, the old voices are just getting louder. In comparison, it's like the more I kind of go up this way, the further down it goes here.
Hmm. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Does it did it occur to you that that's perfectly reasonable, that the more you get into unfamiliar territory, the more the old security, the old knowing wants to kick in and make you feel okay?
Mm. I hadn't thought about it like that. Um, it feels very much like a safety mechanism. Like,
Yeah.
right.
Well, it is, yeah, it's apparent safety, isn't it? Seeking the
Mm.
familiar feels safer.
Mm.
Yeah. Did you read the article I did recently about somebody returning to their family of origin home and all of a sudden seeking started again? Now, I'm not
No.
suggesting, yeah, that might be relevant for you. It was very much how do we see when old things pop in? What is it about? Where does it come from? What does it mean? Or what doesn't it not mean is much more important.
Mm.
So
Mm.
so so what if old stuff comes back? So what? Does it mean anything? Or is it just that old stuff has turned up for some reason?
Mm.
Now we can look at what that reason might be, but it's at where you are, it's not it's it's too much of an invitation to get back into story.
Yeah. So easy.
So yeah,
Such
yeah.
familiar.
So really, it's a case of if we accept that it will happen, and it does. We can't
Mm.
avoid that. So there's no difficulty in accepting because here it is.
Mm.
Then it's a case of, well, what's going on? Now, if it feels like it's a if it's a safety issue, if it feels like it's attracting you to more safety, then of course you might look at, is this unsafe? Does it have any substance?
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
I presume it's not a physical
No, I've been
situation.
through a lot of a big transition recently with not around the time you started guiding me, my father had died not long before that. Then I moved, relocated across the country. I've had to completely sort of start building my private work again, and it's fucking terrifying. And so the old thoughts and patterns of like, this is stupid, this is dangerous, you're stupid, what are you doing, are just like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so yeah,
yeah.
it's really obvious why it's happening in a way.
Mm. Okay, so the next step would be to consider, is it valuable? It's no question about it uncomfortable, but is it offering you something? Is it valuable to you? This what has turned up. Is it trying to show you something?
I think it's, well, one way that I realized the other day that it's valuable is it's almost like whenever sort of a big feeling like a fear or something kicks in, I'm trying to see it almost like a bell to remind me to step back
Mm.
and notice.
Yeah, so that implies that you recognize there's some value in it. Or does it, maybe not, maybe does it imply that you think there's a way to fix it or end it?
Yeah, I think there's definitely still there's a strong sense of how do I fix it. There's still that sense of when I can completely step back and see the world as something I'm aware of, then all of this will disappear. So there's
Okay,
probably
yeah,
this
yeah,
like yeah,
yep, yep, yep.
of not wanting it.
So if we examine that one, is there somewhere an idea, an image or an idea that you will reach a point where that stepping back is a permanent place?
I would say on some level, yes. That's
Mm,
still there's a part of me that hopes that I will be able to transcend and simply walk around seeing everything for what it is and nothing will affect me.
right, right, right. Well, send me your spare gown when that happens. Yeah. Okay. Does it seem reasonable and perhaps more in touch with reality to recognize that there is constant ebbing and flowing? There is constant movement in and out, up and down, more or less, however you want to put it, that is happening all the time. And what we do is we tend to overlay that with some idea of stability or consistency, when in fact the reality is that even in any moment we go in and out, up and down, we move, we have more clarity, we have more confusion, depending on what's going on kind of thing. So, and especially when you consider that this is a relatively new place for you to live, to exist, that the newer it is, the more likely there is old stuff is going to intrude until it's seen through. So we may well have seen through the foundation for any old stuff, but what we haven't seen through is the trigger that stimulates it. So the moment it turns up and you look at it, you recognize that it has no foundation, and it dissolves, it goes away and probably doesn't ever come back, or at least less likely to come back. And then the more time you spend in this new place, the more distance there is between this episode and that episode of old stuff turning up. But it will get to that stage. It will get to that stage where you'll go, oh, well, I wonder if there's anything left. And then something will come along and slap you in the face and show you that, of course, there's something less. There always is something left until maybe there isn't. I don't know if that ever happens, but yeah. So it's not like there really is something to fix. What there is somebody's offering you a present and you're taking it as an insult. Kind of, that's a shitty metaphor, but you get what I mean, right? You're, because of the discomfort involved, you're not recognizing that it's an opportunity for you to just clean up a bit more, to see what's something that hasn't shown itself before is trying to tell you, that there's still some belief in a self is almost certainly going to be the underlying foundation that's behind anything. And of course, because it's quite clear to you, you've seen through that one, you know that doesn't exist. It's not because you know that doesn't exist that it will go away, but it's because you know that doesn't exist that there is no foundation for this. Right now, here there is a bit of an experiment, if you like, or yeah. So here's a possibility that maybe there is something tangible left about the belief in a self. Or maybe it's simply something that got triggered because of those old triggers that hadn't yet been experienced and dropped. You know what I mean? It could be either of those things. But I suspect that it's unlikely to be a substantial actual belief in a self that is left. It's just that there's a million of these things. When we first get into this new world, every single step of the way invites some old stuff to get going again because it was so prevalent in the past.
Yeah.
So we don't want you to dismiss it for the logical reason that there is no self. We want you to recognize that there's no self and therefore there is no foundation in what turned up.
I think that's the thing. It defies logic, this stuff, doesn't it? It can't be reasoned with. I can't think. And I think that's where the frustration is, because I can sit here logically knowing it's not real, it's empty, it's a lot of beliefs based on childhood and sort of how I viewed myself and my self-worth. And I know where it comes from, but it's not, it's almost, I keep thinking of that the Thich Nhat Hanh phrase, the way out is in. I can't sit, dance around the edge and think about it. I've got to go into it to see.
Yeah. Even if you just consider that phrase, not in we're playing with the extending it a bit, but not in the idea that you have to turn around and move forward, but rather the fact that if you simply, instead of having your back to it with the idea of running away from it, that you turn around and face it with the idea of welcoming it, right? So it's not a case of moving or doing anything. It's a case of having an attitude, and the attitude of facing it and welcoming it, inviting it in, is what will reveal most for you.
And
So
how do
again,
you,
it's, yeah, go on.
I was going to say, how are there useful ways of doing that?
Well, even if you start with the idea, the theoretical idea that to face it and invite it is going to be the most productive way to investigate it. Right? That idea, if we believe the idea, and I have no doubts that you can believe it, if we believe the idea, there will be a certain feeling about facing it. It will be welcomed in spite of the discomfort that it might come along with. And that welcoming of it gives you a wider perspective to view it, a more wise perspective from which to look at what's going on. And that means no judgment, no opinion, not even any idea about what it means, but rather what is the actual experience. Right. So again, here's where you were saying about it can't be done intellectually. What if you think that the alternative to intellectual is something visceral, something that you feel, then if you feel that welcoming attitude towards it, right, that will immediately expose whatever it is. So the uncomfortable feeling is a carrier, and it brings with it a message, if you like, or information, or I don't know what, none of those quite work, but it brings with it a possibility of recognition. Right? Now, we're not looking at recognizing details. That's unnecessary. It might happen, but it's unnecessary. What we're recognizing is the automatic resistance to it. And by recognizing that, it will instantly change. Well, it may not be super instant, but it will instantly start to change. It will dissolve simply by having a welcoming attitude towards it. Now, you can't do that, but you can recognize the validity of that happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's about kind of cultivating a mindset rather than trying to do anything.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the mindset is just the way in. It's the crack in the door. Where the opening of the portal, if you like, is the mindset, and then that feeling of ah oh, oh, wonder, the feeling of curiosity and wonder. What is this about? And that's where it can be that it can reveal either and be you've got to be a bit careful there, because if it starts to reveal details, that's an immediate suck in. That's gonna seduce you back into the mind. And so you've got to almost resist that into recognizing that there is a letting go in the body, right? Because it's the body when it first turns up, the discomfort that comes along generates a resistance or a blockage or a stopping of something happening. And by having that thin end of the wedge of the mind that says there's an opportunity here, right, then you you can feel your body relax and let go and open up and invite whatever is there to be shown you, to show you what it is. And it's not about the details. It's not about what it's never about what comes up. It's always about what's underneath that. So what comes up is where the seduction is. That'll want to take you off into some rabbit hole that your mind is interested in, but it's what's underneath that that's where the value is. And that underneath thing is going to be found by feeling. There's a letting go, an opening up, a relaxing, a big exhalation, a sigh that will let you know that something is happening in the direction you want.
So much more about, well, like you will always say, that it's about being with the sensations, the raw experience, just seeing what's there and not fighting it. Because I do, like, I notice at the moment kind of really strong patterns of energy in my body, and they're very much linked to this, like my kind of whole body tenses and my jaw tightens, and I know that I'm stressed, and that these things are coming up because my body responds in this really sort of like closed off fighting way. So it's more, it's so kind of obvious and real what's happening.
Yep.
But it's interesting that you say kind of don't get lured into the detail, because I've been it's incredibly tempting, and the desire for sort of self-pity and, oh, this is so hard for me, and it's so enticing, and it doesn't feel nice, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's really trying to lure me in. And so it's about not following that, but just sitting with what is really there, what's actually there.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? Yeah. So can you get that clenching up, that tightening? You could call it resistance to something, but it's possibly not that, but it could be described as that. But it could also be, and this is something I'm right in the middle of writing an article, doing story about control, and that one really comes clearly into the idea of control, that hanging on to, that grabbing hold of, wanting to to turn the wheel kind of thing. That could well be, but it's even that is a form of resistance, isn't it? It's a form of resistance to what wants to happen naturally. And so that whole thing. Now, it's not about not doing that. It's not about stopping that tightness. It's if you welcome the tightness as a carrier of something for you to know, something for you to experience, something for you to discover. That's the carrier, right? And it will happen that there will be letting go, but don't try and control the tightness and make it let go, because that just really adds to the whole process. That just makes it tighter. So if you really dive into that feeling of tightness, where is it? Like you said, in the jaw, you said in the stomach, you've got those specific areas. Get in and look at the details of those things without beyond labels. Get into what does it feel like, the experiencing of that tightness. That's a really big one. And if you can get beyond labels to what, see, as soon as I say what does it feel like, we want to label it again. You know, we want an answer to that question. What does it feel like? Well, we know what it feels like. It feels tight, but the details of tightness are beyond labeling. You know, so that's where your experience is. If your focus goes to what those experiences are, you know, that's when it will change. But that's with acceptance of it. That's with surrender to it. Again, these are not things you can do, but you will experience that if you can recognize that we have many more options. Yeah, see, options is a shitty word as well. It's not like we have choices, but there are many possibilities of happenings beyond putting up with it or beyond taking a Panadol or a painkiller to try and fix it or whatever. You know, there are many, many options. And one of those, counterintuitive, is, let's really get into it. Let's really focus on the details of it. And it will change. Absolutely. I'll guarantee you it will change when there is no resistance to it because you're inviting it to show you more details, more and more details.
Yeah.
And then you'll go, oh, oh, you'll realize, you know, you'll discover, oh, this is, isn't this amazing? What's happening? You know, it's like, it's beyond explanation, beyond what anything the mind can come up with. It's beyond anything that you've ever been told.
Yeah. I kind of realized, I was thinking last night that I think this is a word that you will use, but this whole process is like an undoing.
Hmm.
And I realized that it's not as simple as, I think when I started, I thought there'd be one big epiphany and then that would be it. No going back, everything's sorted. But I realized that if every single thing that happens to us is like someone putting a stitch in this garment, there's now an incredibly intricate garment, and every little moment of undoing is like one bit of that, but there's so many
Yes.
parts.
Yep. 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 And it's layered. It's not even a linear thing, you know, because every stitch is a stitch in a stitch kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
And something else that then if you undo that, it kind of pulls on that,
Yep. Yeah.
and it's a fascinating process. It's like an undoing or an unfolding, and it just kind of keeps
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah. And every part of our being, every fiber that we've ever been taught, you know, arrives at the idea that the mind must understand it. And it's not possible. It isn't possible because it's beyond anything that any actual story, any word description of it just can't even come close to doing it justice. So it's like we have no choice but to accept the mystery in it all. We just don't know how it happens. We don't know what is happening. We just know something is happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to know why it's happening and what we can do about it, don't we?
Mm. Yeah, we want to be able to control it. That's what we've been told all our life, you know. Be a good girl. You've got the choice, you've got the ability to be a good girl or not. What a joke. Yeah. I keep getting this weird message that says that my phone is low on battery, but it's not. It's got plenty of battery. Anyway, if I disconnect, I'll come back, I'm sure. Yeah. Mm. So was that fairly uninterrupted for you, Maya?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so maybe it's just come good. Yeah.
Funny thing about resistance. I'm looking at the resistance these days because I figured out one thing. There are moments when I don't want to look at something internally and externally. And I caught myself really many times now in the last week. I don't want to look at this. I don't want to look at my mom, for example. It's a moment. I don't want to look. And this not wanting, this resistance, looking looking to her is as big as what I'm supposed to do looking at her. It's just as big, it's just as important, it's just as there. And
Mm,
it's like jumping out for me. And inwardly also, when there's something, okay, there's a sensation and I want to look at the sensation, I want to burn it, okay? And then I see, but there's at the same time, I don't want to look at it. As if I had some internal eyes to look at something really,
mm.
and I don't want to move my. But now that you're talking about resistance, I think I just forgot. It didn't occur to me a very obvious thing that I should look at the resistance, drop the other thing for the moment, and be with this resistance now.
Yeah.
And the tricky
There's a
thought comes now.
yeah.
Let's go.
There's a subtlety behind this that is worth looking at. More importantly than saying I should look at the resistance, it's that what might the resistance be trying to tell me? So if you just go, well, I should look at the resistance, and even if you're successful at doing that, it's going to keep happening. But when you invite it to tell you what it's trying to show you, then you're looking at what's underneath it, the what it rests on, its foundation. And it will be, almost certainly, it will be that resistance is trying to tell you that there's a story there about what it means that you don't
Mm,
like.
mm,
And so you're trying to avoid that meaning by having the resistance. So if you're successful at looking at the resistance, you're still only looking at a symptom of
mm,
what turned up, which is what it is I don't want to look at. And when you invite the resistance to show you, and you see a story about something you believe, it will immediately dissipate simply because you'll almost without doubt you'll recognize that what that story means is something ridiculous. It's not even close to reality. It's just a fantasy story that you got going somewhere from some other place, some other time, something else. Who knows
mm,
where it came from or what it actually is. But at the moment that you invite the resistance to show you what it is trying to show you, that's not trying to get rid of the resistance. It's not trying to look at it for the purpose of ending it. It's looking at it with the idea that it can show you a hidden belief. Of course, the mind will immediately jump in and say, well, what belief? What are you talking about? What's there?
No, I'm thinking about,
No?
okay, I'm still waiting for that one thing that will really feel like you say, you see the belief and then everything drops. Because this will be new for me when it happens once.
Hmm.
The process is very difficult. Nothing drops just like that. It takes a lot of digging, and it takes a lot of, for some reason. But
Oh,
okay.
well, yeah. Do you have to earn your Christmas presents or do you just get given gifts?
Yeah, no gifts for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, never mind, never mind. It did occur to me, yeah, to ask what it is, but there is a belief. There is a belief. There is a belief when I ask the resistance what it means, that anything that comes will be something I invent. Just
Ah, yes, that's a big one.
I
That
don't
is,
believe. I don't
yes,
believe what comes will be something
yes, yes.
real.
Okay,
Something.
this is a really big one. This is a good one, very big and good. Yes. Um, oh,
So subsequently, it's not worth asking.
yes, yes, yes. Well, yeah. Okay. Look, it's. I don't know where to start with this. This is so good. This
Oh,
one, yeah. Um, it's all fantasy, or call it what you like. It's all fantasy, right? The belief you've got is as much a fantasy as anything that you might invent.
I
Yeah.
know. Wait. So this is me again, not believing that I'm not controlling my thoughts.
There you go.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a good in. Yeah.
This has a subtle hint of this has a subtle hint of uh you will find a belief
Yeah.
and then everything will drop.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Um, at a kind of a more well, at a level that's more satisfactory for the mind
Okay.
is the idea that if a particular thought turns up, why did that thought turn up and not another thought? Right? So if you give that some validity, then you can say whatever you've invented that and not something else.
Yeah.
And that there
I've
is something
invented only
behind that. Yes.
yeah. I have invented only what I could have invented at that point under these
Yes, exactly.
circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah. And you might
Uh,
even go as far as to say what you invent is something that is acceptable for you at the moment,
yeah.
right? Which is, even if it's not the thing, it's a way into the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because I do forget that I don't have control. I do forget it's not over for me. It will last for some time. Okay, I cracked into it. I have glimpses, but there's still a long way to go, I think.
Yeah. It is a
So,
tricky one. I'm doing
mm,
an article on control right now, which I'll maybe get finished and post tonight. But of course, it's never finished. And it's the longest article I've ever done. So because there's so much in it, so I would love your feedback on that one as when you get to read that,
okay,
if you do, yeah. Um, because I'm not happy with it because but it's like I could write a whole book on this one and still not cover everything. There's so much
write
to
a
it.
book.
Yeah,
Write a book.
all on control. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking at control in everyone around me. My mom, she grasps for remaining control that she can have.
Yes,
My
yeah.
cousin, yeah, one of my cousins, the older one, who's impeding me to help her younger sister. So everyone wants to have control. And I look at control issues in everyone and in me. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it's such a huge part of everybody and everything. You know, the whole world
Yeah.
is a yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
was going to say that's what I've noticed. That, you know, we'll talk about controlling people, or we'll think of people we know in the past who were particularly controlled. But the more that I go through this process, everyone is. And I didn't think I was
Absolutely.
a controlling person, but the more, again, the more sort of the kind of resistance or the tension comes up, the more I notice I'm trying to control so many things, like what time I must have my dinner today, or what, and it's like, wow, gosh, we're really, it's like on some level, I guess we know, on some deep level, we know that we don't have control, and so the mind is like,
Mm,
I've got it to like fight this.
yeah, it frightens the shit out of us. Absolutely. Yeah.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I'm now I'm now with my mom, and I have to make her do some things she doesn't want to, and so on. And I try to look. I try to control the control. So I try to get rid of this control of thinking that I have control and everything. But now I'm in the situation where I have to manipulate her, lie. Uh, these are things I abandoned long time ago. I grew up out of this everything. It's my life principle. I don't want to lie because it's too costly. It uses up mental energy. Anything. Why
Yeah,
would I lie? I
absolutely.
don't.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm half autistic. Okay, so it's really difficult for me to lie and to manipulate. And now I have to. And I do have resistance to it. I don't want to lie and manipulate, but I have to. If I'm dealing with her, I have to.
Mm, yeah,
So this is another layer now,
yes.
abandoning control and then having to seeing where I have to use it, that there are situations in life where you have to use control, when you have to manipulate people for some
Yep, yep,
reason.
yep. Yeah, yep, yeah. Look, I can flip back 50, 55 years in my life to when my kids were young, and I recognize that a point came where I gave up trying to reason with them to get them to do things like go to bed. And what did I do?
Yeah.
I exerted control. I started using power. I forced them. I yelled at them. I threatened them, whatever, to do what I. And so, of course, it's part of our life. We just grow up with this control. And of course, when the time comes where you've got to get your mother to do things, what's left but the same thing she used on you when you were young?
But there are things really, I mean, she has to take medication. And yeah, I think for most of them, if she doesn't take something, the world won't fall apart. I'm
Mm,
okay with it. But there are some things she takes thyroid hormones every morning. She has to. She has to.
yeah.
So there are some things I really have to do for her to keep living. So it's really vital for me to manipulate her into doing things such as
Mm,
this.
yeah. Yep. Yep. And there's that old uh, saying, that line is, well, it's for your own good.
Yeah, yeah. How many times did she tell this to me? How many times in my life? And the things weren't for my own good, but
Yes.
it was what she thought, what she wanted me to do. She thought it would be.
Yep.
It was her belief.
Yep.
She was living out the beliefs as everybody
Yep.
else is.
So it's a tricky one because consequently she never found an alternative with you, and so those alternatives don't exist for her. And so what
Yeah.
option do you have but to do what you do?
Yeah.
Of course, it's for her own good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, it's hard, isn't it? This is the paradox of this stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
But this is a bit tricky. So underneath this, right? So you're not using control in order to bolster your own ego. You're not using control in order to solidify a self, right?
Mm.
This thing you're calling control or power or whatever we want to call it, right, appears to be. I don't want to get too something or other with this and saying, but it's like it's what needs to happen, and there's no way
Mm.
around that. You're not doing it to make yourself feel better. You're not
No.
doing it. I mean, when your mother did it for you, it wasn't so that she could say, "Well, I feel better because of." She's saying, "I feel it's absolutely necessary." Right now, it's necessary, but you're not doing it to feel. You're not using that as a
Yeah.
justification. It's just something that's happening. So there
Yeah.
is a subtle underlying difference between when you did it out of frustration and when you do it as a you could almost say a cold-hearted manipulation in order to achieve an end. But
Yeah.
it's the opposite of
And
that in a way. Yeah, it comes from a place of love, doesn't it?
yeah. And I'm completely aware when I'm doing it. There is a
Yes.
visceral feeling. There is a bit of resistance in it, but never mind. There is a visceral feeling. I am manipulating now. I'm doing it now.
Yes.
But I don't think that people who do it regularly, who do it for some other purposes, that they have any. They don't give it thoughts. I think
Hmm.
when someone's
Well,
used to living.
what's
Yeah.
underlying it for them when
Yeah.
they do that is that they need to feel there's an end result in feeling like they're accomplishing something,
Yeah.
and it's the satisfaction that comes with feeling like they've accomplished it. Now, although that satisfaction might be there for you, it's not the primary driver of it.
Yeah. There
It
is
is
only
different. Yeah.
there is only relief. I did it. It needed to be done, and I did it. Okay, now
Yeah.
she has had her fill, and we're fine. We can go on with the day.
Hmm. Perhaps you could treat her like you might your dog, and you could wrap the pill in something like peanut butter that she likes.
We do stuff. Believe me, you have to be very resourceful.
Mm.
Yeah. It's really like a
Yeah.
like a child. I would say two, three,
Yeah.
four,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. So if any discomfort comes up for you as a result of doing this, again, that is worth looking at what is underneath that, not the discomfort itself. Though that's the way into it. Go to the session of discomfort, but it's what's underneath that. There's something. If there's part of you that feels this is wrong, then that can be considered. There'll be some
Mm.
belief, right? But that belief will be tied to a self. That will be identification. Right? So all of this happening with no identification is just a happening. Now, if you're feeling bad about it, there's some identification. What's underneath that? That's the thing to look at. Hmm. And having said that, I don't envy you that situation.
I'm not. I'm not so. I'm not in despair.
Good.
I really look at it. I look at it as a really good learning opportunity.
Yes, great, great. It is. It absolutely is. Yeah. Yeah.
Many moments lend themselves to
Yes.
be dissected. To
Yeah. The whole thing with dementia is a huge opportunity that we're all faced with. You know.
yeah, and
Yeah.
there's also this fear that I have to work with that it will happen to me.
Mm.
And how long do I have?
Yeah. It's a good one. It's a tricky one. I work. I've had a little bit to do with a lady who's appears now and again around the Liberation Unleashed, and she's doing a thesis and a whole lot of research on this, what is common between waking up and dementia. And it's quite amazing how those two do cross over each other in an interesting way. And so if you take the idea that certain dementia robs somebody of a recognition, this is a tricky one, a recognition of that sense of self. And if they were to have recognized the delusionary nature of the self before dementia comes on, there's not going to be any confusion or pain in not having that recognition anymore. And when somebody gets advanced dementia, they let go of even knowing that there ever was a self or is a self. They're really definitely, like my mother was, absolutely in the present eventually in towards the end of her life with dementia. And she had no, in the beginning, there was a lot of pain about recognizing that things were lost, even if she didn't know what they were. But after it reached a certain level, she was happy. She was quite contented in not having an identity. Sounds weird, but it was, yeah. It
That's what
seemed to
I
me
said.
that way.
I need to get awakened so that when I get dementia, that I just sit in the corner and not bother anyone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And sit there and
Will be
smile at
fine.
yourself at the wonderfulness of
Yeah.
what in front of you. Yes, yeah.
I'm also looking at what's similar, what's different. There are many similarities. She lost every. She loses meanings. This is her type of dementia. She really loses meaning. It's semantic variant. It's called semantic variant, frontotemporal. She loses meanings in terms of words, connection to things with words, and she loses every meaning, like every story about anything. The story about me, about giving birth to me. She doesn't know it. I'm not her daughter for at least a year already. So I don't have a story for her. She doesn't know the story of our relation. There's only this human connection when we meet in
Yes,
person.
yep,
But when I'm not there, I'm not there. So okay, there's
yes,
no
yeah.
story about me. There's not my name, and okay. So there are some things that I see. Oh, this is what we are trying to achieve. Okay, but then I think, oh, it's not good.
Yeah, yeah.
There are some resistances that origin in
Mm,
this
mm.
conclusion.
Well, there will be a difference, at least in the beginning, and that is that you will recognize the fantasy nature of the beliefs, but they will still be recognized and not adopted. whereas
Yeah. And
she never had that fantasy recognition.
yeah, she didn't have the recognition, and she loses meanings, but she doesn't lose the self. The self is she is really fighting for herself somehow. I see her fighting for self.
Mm,
And she lost
yep,
her own stories. She lost her own meanings about her. She doesn't know her name anymore, let alone the date of
yep,
birth
yep,
and the
yep.
title.
And that
She
probably
so
makes the self, that probably makes the
yeah,
fight
that
to
makes
keep
the
herself
self.
a lot harder. Yeah.
But there is still something that makes her fighting for some self. There's still I want you to
Mm,
do this.
mm.
I want something to be like this. So there are many things that those wants are her identity. I don't know. And
Yeah,
also there comes that there isn't anything real. There aren't stories that could be related to something that really happened. So she confabulates. She makes up.
yeah. Well, that's what everybody does, except there may be some tinge of reality in it for them.
Yeah, and yeah, there's so much to see in her now. When she does things, she's always she's always up and running. She cannot stop. She complains her legs, she has her legs hurt, but okay, she cannot stop. Okay. And there is always something that she has to do. She has to do this. She has to do that. It doesn't make any sense, but okay. And then I'm looking at her and I think, we lead our lives just the same way. There is always this that I have to do, that I have to do. I have to
Yeah.
go there. I have to go there. And I'm asking myself, well, what she does doesn't make any sense. Does what I do make any sense? Maybe not. Maybe it's just the same.
Wow. Yeah.
Maybe it's just the same. But so
Yep.
many times I'm looking at her and I ask myself so many times, is
Yeah. That's
what I
beautiful,
do
isn't it?
so devoid of meaning? It's just something that I don't know what's driving me to do it.
Mm.
It's the same. It's the
Yes.
same.
And that's classic, isn't it? She's showing you. Yeah. Beautiful.
She's showing me. She's
Mm.
showing me.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Puts everything on display, and I'm seeing myself in what she does. And who am I to say that what she make any sense? Who am I to say that what I do makes any sense?
Yeah, exactly. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Okay. I'm just going to jump up and turn the light on. It's getting dark here. Mm. Mm. Oh, I don't know if that's better or not. Maybe I was better in the
Yeah.
dark. How are you, Tamara?
Just to unmute myself. Hi.
Like,
Since I haven't been since the beginning, are you in a hospital?
I am in hospital, yeah, but I have this procedure every 3 months until it's all done. There's nothing serious.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay, okay. So you're fine. You're gonna
yeah,
be with us,
yeah,
right?
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm just going to have a tube down my throat, and they'll just check to see if there's anything growing there. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, well, I suppose we'll check with you next time then. How did the results go?
Yeah, it'll be fine. I'm
Okay.
confident. Yeah.
Um, I'm also looking forward to your article on control very, very much. I love to read more than listen, and when I listen to you, your words, like, yeah, it just has this depth, and so I'm very much looking forward to reading your words. Yeah, I would like you to have much articles, like many articles. So yeah, I think I'm feeling fear now, and perhaps shame, but it's okay. It's just here. Um, Last time after we talked, it seems like now the thought came, the group is gonna hate me because I'm doing it again, like being very calm and taking up time with just being silent here.
You're allowed to, and if anybody hates you, that's something that they've got to work on. So that's great. Don't worry. You take as long as you like. Be silent for as long as you like. That's fine. There's no pressure, no urgency. There you go. Louise loves you like I do. Yes.
um, I like it. I like it. Feels like I like being silent with you. Yeah, it it's pulling me in. It's like it, and then I'm afraid, and then there's like, you can't just be silent here with him. it's funny, the thoughts that come up. It's again, remember from the last time, the silence, it drops in, and I feel I don't know, something, emotion, and then it just pops up. You're stupid. There's also been now this thought.
There's also been what?
This thought. How long is this gonna take? Like it feels like I just need, I don't know. Like what is happening, like the silence and being here with you, and then how long is this gonna take? As if I'm doing this and I'm doing something wrong. Oh. I'm so afraid.
How do you know? Do you feel afraid?
There was, how do you know, is a beautiful question. I love it. There like contraction or sensations in the diaphragm and here, and then like thoughts. Is he gonna hate me? Like, does he hate me? And I don't want to, I don't want you to say it, or I don't want to ask you that, because that would sort of beat the purpose. It's like I don't want comfort, because I want to feel this. And I'm happy that you're here with me in it. And then I'm afraid that you're just gonna go. Like I'm going through some process, and it's like I love this space, and then they're just like, it's too much. Like what you're doing is too much
Too much for you?
for you.
Off
like
where
what I'm doing. Yeah, like what
yeah.
I'm doing is like how patient is he gonna be? How long will he wait for you? Am I supposed to do something now? I don't feel like I am.
You are doing something or not doing something. Something is happening. Yeah. I don't know what that is, but I'm happy.
Me too.
And if we sit here in silence for another hour and a half, I don't mind.
Yeah, but I feel like I can sit in silence without being like on the call, like without being on
Yes.
the screen. But then this process doesn't start.
Mm.
It didn't start
Yep.
before I got here with you.
Yep. So I would imagine that this process is you showing yourself something, even if we don't know what it is. And I would see that as valuable.
I feel that way too, and there's this fear, like what do others think, including you?
Who cares?
I think that's what's happening, like precisely that. Experiencing that fear and that like that something like
Yeah.
maybe this, yeah.
So let me ask you that question again, differently. Who cares what others might think?
It's here.
But that's not caring, is it? That's fear. So it's not caring what others might think. It's fearing what others might think. And what others might think you're stupid. Others might think you're what?
But yeah, yeah.
Uh, now,
Utterly
now,
stupid.
yes.
And
And
but
if you change that to you might think you're utterly stupid.
I just wanted to say, yeah, we're others.
Mm.
But it's, you know, it's like when I'm sort of going in it now, it's like, you know, it's okay, your stupid is rising again, but it's like it's a thought that's written like somewhere in space here, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
Todd in his inquiries. So you're stupid or I'm stupid. So
Mm.
it almost doesn't make sense, and then it makes sense to go just, yeah,
to internalize it.
yeah, like,
Well, where did that thought come from? Literally, in your experience, what was the origin of that thought? Did it have some place that it emerged from? It just was there. It wasn't there, and then it was there, right? Yeah. What is your connection to that thought? Do you own it? Is it your thought, or is it just a thought that turned up?
oh, it felt like mine. Yeah.
Right. So there is some connection to it. There are some hooks into it, or some tethering, some stickiness. Is it possible to cut it loose and just let it be there without it being yours?
It feels like an identity. When I think of it, I immediately see, that blurry, vague picture of my body right now sitting.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
immediately, like I'm stupid, and then there's image of me,
Yes.
and it's like I cannot detach that immediate. It's like I cannot see that the image is not me. Like I understand it intellectually, but
Yeah. I get that. Yeah. Stay with what the feels like. Yeah.
and now the face is here.
If you were to project a different thought up there, instead of saying you're stupid, let's say you're wonderful. Can you see that thought up there?
I can see it written, but
Okay, so look, good. Now, what is your connection to that thought?
it's just like a sentence.
Yes. So there's not a connection to that like there is to the other one, that you're stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, right now, what came up in the body when you said again, like the you're stupid, it's the immediate. The first one didn't have a reaction in the body, and the other one immediately had.
Yeah. And that is your visceral experience of the connection. Now that connection is your belief in it. So you can easily believe the one that says you're stupid, but you can't believe the one that says you're wonderful.
That one even has some aversion. It's like something happened.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? It even has aversion. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. So do you get that the self we call Tamara is a collection of stories that you've been collecting since you were very, very young, and that the sense of self is the response you have to those stories? Can you see that? Can you accept that's the complete and absolute self that is Tamara? That it's that collection of stories. Well, that's not the self, but the response to those stories is what gives you that feeling of a self.
Response to the stories.
So Tamara likes ice cream. That's a story, or maybe not, but that'll do, right? That's a story. And when you think of that story, oh, it feels nice. Oh, even maybe if you think about it enough, you even get saliva in your mouth that from thinking about that. It's a response to the story that Tamara likes ice cream. Just the same as you had a response to the story that Tamara's stupid.
Like the entire response, visceral, and the thought, like everything, like the entire mechanistic response. You mean, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that is
And
your sense of self. And it's very strong when we bring out the right stories.
yeah, yeah.
And it's resistance, pushing away when we bring out the wrong stories. You're wonderful. Tamara is wonderful. Tamara is beautiful. Oh no, we don't like those stories. Tamara is stupid. Oh, okay. Yeah, that one I can, yeah.
I have sort of a question in mind.
Hmm?
Though I sort of don't want to interrupt what you're saying because it's really flowing, but there's this question, so I'm not sure whether I'm sort of sabotaging now or
No, no, no,
interrupting.
no. That's another story that about
Yeah.
Tamara. She sabotages. Okay, forget it. Just ask your question. Yeah.
But why was the mind acting like what was there what I was feeling like this, while you were talking, like this last part, it was not empty. I already felt the question, so I interpreted that as my mind being active, and then interpreted that as, oh, sabotaging. So I was not like empty on this last part when you were talking. So what's like, or this is just like simple absolute over analyzing right now.
So ask me, what's your question?
I'm just wondering, like, what, this is not actually the question, this is why I said, am I sabotaging? Because while you were talking this last bit, when you're not like fully, it's like I wasn't fully listening.
Yep.
I mean, I was
Yep.
hearing, but the question was already forming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is
I get that. Yeah.
so this is where I'm wondering, but my mind went somewhere else. So maybe I just shouldn't ask a question because I'm not here.
Yeah. If you were to not look for a meaning about that, then it was just what happened, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
All of life is like that. All of life. We don't need to put a meaning on anything. It is just what's happening, always. And it's the meaning that happens to get put on it that creates all of our problems, all of the suffering, which gives rise to thoughts like, I should be different. I wish Tamara wasn't stupid. And that's where suffering is in all of that. But if the thought Tamara's stupid turns up, how is it more than just a thought? If there is sensations in your body, if there's a body contraction, then that's more than just a thought, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I would like to ask about. I was reading a Christian Michelberger's
Yep.
blog yesterday, and
Yeah.
I actually had a dream about her and you, like you were both in a dream this night. So uh, so she says, I mean, it's fetters say, or it is that it seems like true that the resistance and wanting is only the assumption. So even the experience of I'm pushing something away, like, is not true, and is the assumption, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't fully understand that, though I did sort of feel it, and I'm relying on that. that yeah. So it just feels odd in a sense. It feels kind of odd being in the or like believing, or I'm not sure of the right word. I'm pushing it away when it seems like almost like, how can I be pushing it away? It's almost, is it like that's also just like it just what's happening is happening. It's, you know, on my long walk yesterday, I was experiencing a lot of contraction and pain, and you know, it's just shadow stuff coming up, and it feels
That's the
like what's
assumption.
happening. Right. Right. I'm not getting it, but it's just like
Mm. The assumption is the meaning that we put on things.
so the only thing then what was happening and what is happening is just it's happening.
What's happening is the contraction, the discomfort, what you're feeling in your body.
And
What you
even it,
call that is the assumption.
yeah. So what I'm having a lot of, I think, identity and the self, or what I don't know what that is, but is that continuous? That's meaning. I think giving meaning, and like the
Yeah.
evaluation. So yesterday, while I was walking, it's always happening. Yesterday, it was like sort of softening that how I'm doing it, because there was always this you should there if you're doing it right the contraction will dissolve, but that's not true. Like we don't know how long anything should last or whatever, like we don't, like whatever is happening we don't know,
Yeah.
so there's sort of this little fight. There's like, but why is it still here? But then like it's here.
That's meaning again. That's meaning. That's adding a story to it. That's
Yeah,
what Penilla calls a post-it note on reality. You're adding to. So what is actual is these feelings, these sensations that you've got. And what is not actual are the assumptions, the stories about those things. And then when you have those stories, you then react to them as well. So you spiral off into something else. So if you were to say, I sense contraction, feeling, whatever, here, there, wherever, and not put a meaning onto it, they will change, but not because we want them to, but simply because they're always changing anyway, no matter what. Nothing is static. So everything is always changing. So when you focus in detail on it, you recognize that it's changing. Thank you. Here, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, so it's really just a case of watching how the mind adds to what is actually going on. So the classic example, I'm interrupting you, I know. The
go
classic
yeah.
the classic example is that connection between something and the story that Tamara is stupid. That connection is what I call identification. That stickiness, that connection, that ownership of. Well, that comes along with the meaning that we apply to. As soon as we apply meaning, we're applying ownership. Any meaning actually creates a self. That's a big one. That's a really big one. But what we have to look at is very subtle. We have to be very quiet and look really closely in great detail at what is actually happening to recognize.
Yeah, that's where I feel that perhaps probably more identification is happening, because I feel effort there.
Yes.
because
Yep.
it feels like, again, I'm achieving.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
I'm really trying to go into detail, and while I'm yeah, and while I'm on my walk, I'm trying to like almost really focus, and then there's also like, how is that even happening?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Okay. So what I said was right and wrong. Uh, so
Yeah,
because it
paradox.
sounded like, yes, it sounded like I'm giving you instructions to do something. But whereas what I'm really saying is, if that happens, so just recognizing that because we've had this discussion, it opens up a possibility for things to happen. Anytime you
Mhm.
apply any kind of effort, you're headed down the wrong path.
And I have a lot of that, like a lot. So it feels like it all is garbage,
Yeah,
almost.
absolutely. Yes. Yeah. But how can you not do that? Because
Yeah,
that takes effort. Yeah.
yeah. Ah. Oh, I love this. It's so simply complicated. And it's simple. It's not a it's
It is. It is. You're right. Yeah. I like that. It's simply complicated. Yeah. Mm,
right? Like, yeah. Like there's nothing, absolutely nothing complicated in this.
mm,
It really feels like that. But then we kind of talk about it, and then this happens, and then it's like, oh, it's so complicated. And then it's like, well, yeah, yeah.
mm. Exactly. Yeah. And that in itself is a great discovery.
Can I be allowed to reiterate once more, please? To so, like to summarize, maybe this is okay. So now I'm giving meaning again. Okay, so so I'm
But you
on my
saw it.
walk.
That's a good thing. You
All
saw
right,
it.
I should have laughed.
Yes. Yeah.
I could have laughed. I didn't laugh. So I'm on my walk. Oh yeah, I think that's one of the problem. It seems like I constantly see, and then I feel like, well, that's evaluation. Well, no, at least this doesn't matter. So I'm on my walk, and there's a lot of sensation there, and then there's like, oh, I'm going through something, overlay thinking, and then there's like, okay, next time it will be recognition. Okay, that's meaning. So again, there will be sensation. Then there will be okay, well, can you get closer? And then there will be well, okay, look at the grass. Can you connect with the grass? And like that's how often dropping into the body happens. Yeah. And then what comes up often is, well, what is even this trying? Like, do you feel the effort? Then it's like, well, where in the body you feel it? Then it's like there's some pockets are opening up, like
Mm,
and then of course again comes up, you're arrogant, you're stupid, like you think you're achieving something now. It's almost like the closer I get, the more it's like, oh, you're succeeding. And then, well, I should not be thinking that, just overlay and overlay and overlay. And then I'm like, okay, this is happening now. And and then there's again, well, how do I go deeper? And then there's, well, what's now? So it's almost I understand this is overly analytical, and I understand. It is how my mind is. So
Okay, so stop. Look, you're evaluating, you're applying meaning. Now, if that happens, that's also just happening.
yeah. But what if this? I think this is what I was trying to get to. What if I'm not doing it good enough?
you 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 cannot fail. You cannot not do it good enough. It's not possible. If it's happening, it's happening. How can you say if it's happening, it's not happening?
Right.
Right? It's
Uh,
yeah. So no matter what you say, you can say it's wrong, and that's right. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
You're going to drive yourself crazy trying to work it out and get it right when
yeah,
it was right all along. Whatever you are going through, anything that you are going through is right. It is just what it is. And the moment you stop fighting that, and if you're fighting it, that's also right. But the moment you stop fighting it, if that happens, you will see things. Maybe in the middle of fighting it, you'll see things. Nothing can be wrong. Tamara's not stupid, but if she believes she is, that's not wrong. It's not saying it's right, but it's not wrong. It just is what it is, what it is. Full stop. Yeah, that's it. Mm. Yeah. And you feel that in silence. Most wonderfully, you feel it in silence.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
I think I'm gonna have to like go off the call completely now. It's almost 10. Just yeah.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Vince, you probably already told everybody else already, but why are you in your hospital? Or what is this bed?
Yeah, I'm in hospital, yes.
No.
Every 3 months now I have a procedure where they're checking my esophagus. Um, so it's no
Oh,
big deal. It's just a regular procedure I have. Yeah,
okay,
but
good to
it's
know.
fine. Yeah, I'm not dying yet.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to check if you're dying.
How are you, Louise?
Hello.
Hi.
I don't know. there's something this thing on the right is definitely moving, and it's a lot of sensation and dissolving, all kinds of sensations, and it happens all day. And like even just moving into that space feels different. Feels very emotional. I cried when Tamara talked about being quiet and how she likes to be quiet. I just burst out in tears because it's almost like I've always wanted to be quiet. I've always wanted to like just be as a child, but like, what I've just noticed recently is the shoulds, like you should be sociable, you should be joining in, you should be happy. This is the one thing you should feel like joining in. I don't know. I just realized I'm quite odd. I've always been odd. And the thing, it started long time ago, I'm pretty sure, but the moment I tried to be not odd, or whatever that meant, that's when this thing, this mask, whatever this is, I don't know,
Yeah.
I just get a sense that's when it started. And all I can remember as a child, the furthest back I can remember is I was at a German school. My mum and dad, my dad was in the RAF in Germany. And I went to a German school. They lived out in the German community, and being forced to go to a party where I didn't speak the language. And I just remember feeling very odd. And that's the youngest. And then lots of things after that. I don't even know why I'm saying all this, actually. Didn't even realize this was going to come out. And then this week is just like, just be odd. Just be odd. I don't care. Like, there's nothing. It was so painful. I went to a sports thing recently, and I love actually taking part in the sports because I feel like I can be with people and I belong and you're part of something. But as soon as the social thing happens afterwards, putting that mask on is just so painful. So I tried just being odd and just sitting quietly and just like listening, and I could feel the sensations in the body trying to reach out to connect in their way. And it just felt, I just relaxed back into it. I just thought, and I don't know, I want to say there's a lot of numbness, but I'm guessing it's just, I feel like it's just normalization now. It's just normal. Not high, not low, not reaching to be happy, not reaching to get out of, like, I texted Marius yesterday. I just had a few days, 3 days actually, of self-doubt, criticism. I'm no good. What am I doing in this world? There's no point. Blah, blah, blah. But I knew, like, it was just a default state. It was just a default pattern. It didn't mean, because, a few weeks ago, just touching that other end of the spectrum where you feel like you could do anything. And I could just see it's just that swing, and that none of it's actually true. How can it be when it's so diverse?
Mm.
And so when Tamara talked about being still and quiet, that is, it's not happiness, it's just a deep peace. And then coming out to do daily tasks that, you know, I've got 2 teenagers and stuff needs doing.
Do an ECG on you, just a heart rhythm check before your procedure tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, can you give me a little while? Was it? Give me say an hour. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, when as late as you can go. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Do you need to go, Vince?
No. She wanted to do heart checks and that before my procedure tomorrow, but I put it off for another hour.
Oh, okay.
That's all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
So
might hear a dog bark in a minute. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with all that. Anyway,
yeah. I
yeah,
want
just
to ask you something
deeper.
that came up though, and that is that do you recognise that when you allow yourself to relax and be odd, that nobody's going to see any difference? They're still going to see what they see, regardless of what you're doing or where you are or what you're feeling. Did that ever occur to you? Or do you think they really will see you as odd? You'll suddenly have this thing on your forehead that says, I'm odd.
That's really funny. I don't know. It's all internal. Like what I think people are thinking is all inside.
Right. So it's really you that says being odd is not good.
Yes. And even if I say inside to myself, well, just be odd, it's done with a flavor of,
Yep.
it's not really okay.
Something wrong about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a kind of an odd way to put it, excuse the pun, to say that being odd is actually odd, right? Because what you're recognizing is that what you're calling odd is something that would feel comfortable for you.
Yes. And that's from a lot, I know that from a long, long time ago somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before that social stuff came in. Yeah. Yeah. It's really funny as we're talking, it's really starting to move. Yeah. And I'm
I'd
just
just like to
feeling,
throw it. Go on.
No, sorry, carry on.
Oh no, I was just going to make an offhanded comment, and that is that really like your oddness. That gives
well,
me the permission to be
yeah.
odd too.
Yeah, I can see now it's all the internal projection of what other people think, and it does, as you said to Tamara, who cares? What is it that cares? Yeah.
But if it happens, it happens.
Yeah. And that's okay too. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't
But
need to add meaning to that, do we? It's just a
no,
happening. Yeah.
but this sensation becomes really strong. It seems to be an alarm for inauthenticity. It seems to, it like really crunches in. It's like it doesn't want to be seen
Mm-hmm.
or heard because it's not safe.
Right. It's not that it's odd, it's that it's not safe.
Yes. Yeah. 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 And my heart's going now and my breathing.
Just like you're not safe.
It's not okay to talk like this. Yeah. Now the ears, the pressure in the ears. It's like it's closing down all the ears.
You don't need to man up.
There's part of that in there too, yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to control that part, isn't it? I know what you mean. Yeah. Experience that resistance to letting it flow.
Yeah.
And manning up is such a stupid phrase. It just reveals how stupid the whole thing is, isn't it?
Oh, I see. It's not manning up. It's cheer up.
Right.
It's cheer up. There we go. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's actually a mortal sin to not cheer up.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. If I just stop doing all this looking into myself, I'll probably then you'll be okay. But the experience is the opposite. If I try and do all that stuff, there's nothing now out there that no, I'm tired of doing all that. Yeah. There's real pain here now.
It occurs to me, and maybe it's a bit premature, I'm not sure, but it occurs to me that I wonder if you've ever given thought to what what will life be like, or what will be there when this is mostly gone, when there's nothing left to work on.
It's a bit scary. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
The scary thing, I wonder if is the scary thing that Louise will be okay. Hmm. Hmm. That was a violent reaction, wasn't it?
I know I'll be okay. I know I'll be okay.
Well, of course we know you'll be okay, but does your body know you'll be okay?
Most of it, but not this bit.
Hmm.
Mm.
Is that still cold, that part? Does it still feel cold? Thank you.
I don't remember ever saying it was cold.
Oh, okay. I remember it as something like an iceberg.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do remember that now. It's an iceberg in terms of like, it feels like it's melting,
All right. Yep. Yep.
but it feels like there's a fist, like there's a fist inside, and it gets tighter, and then it relaxes, and then it really like tightens. It's not like I'm not trying to get rid of it. I lean into it and I do
Hmm.
talk to it.
Yeah. It indicates something. We just don't know what exactly,
Mm.
I suppose. But yeah.
Like if I just lean into this area, it starts. Ah,
So when you say lean into it, how does the words, if I move to the right a little bit, how does that feel?
then this bit's joining in. Could you just say that again?
It almost doesn't matter now. I was thinking that if you use the words, if I lean to the right a little bit, does that feel as
Yes, it's,
juicy as if I lean into it?
yeah, yeah. So something's trying to get out. It's really strange. Ugh, I thought I had nothing to say. It's really funny.
Mm. There's plenty to feel though.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. I feel a bit dizzy. Ah. Mm.
It almost looks to me like there's something inside of you, some alien inside of you that wants to get out.
That's how it feels.
Feels like
That's
that?
exactly how it feels. Yeah. Yeah. It's just here. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. It's not scary though.
Mm. Would you go as far as to say it's friendly?
It's friendly, but it's got something to say. Like I wouldn't say it's, I don't know if it's anger but it's quite strong.
Bit confronting, yeah.
Yeah. I just noticed the paradox of letting this happen on public YouTube. Like it feels very vulnerable, unsafe, but when I'm just with you, like it feels very safe.
Mm.
Yeah.
How do you feel when I say I can cut this out of the video before I post it if you like?
Right now, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
What I want to neither one way or the other influence that, but you let me know if you want me to cut it out. But consider that there's a very good chance that others will identify with exactly what you're going through. Oh,
Fuck. People just fucking knew that this is what fucking needs to be done. It may look so fucking painful, but it's not. It's not. It's what we shy away from all the fucking time. Fuck. Why does nobody tell us this? Oh. Oh, fuck. Oh, fucking hell. Jesus. Someone's going to tuck me away in a white coat. I feel so fucking normal. This is it. I can feel every part of my body. Ah, it's here. It's here now. It's right here. It's like a fucking lid on a boiling pot. I don't take the fucking lid off. Fuck off. Let it just go. Oh. What is it that's holding it on? So fucking tired of loading this fucking lid on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh, uh. Fuck. Just fuck off. Oh, I feel sorry for the person who's just arrived. Oh. Uh. It's just rising up here. I have no control over this. Oh. Part of me thinks I should just go and just sit quietly and let this finish, whatever it needs to do. But I can't help, I can't. It's just going.
Mm. I'm happy for you to just stay with it.
Okay. Uh, 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 uh. Feels like an animal.
Hmm.
It's like something's coming in. Um, I'm tired. I'm really tired.
What time is it there?
No, I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
9:30 in the morning.
Is it? Oh, okay. It's in the morning. Okay, yeah. Oh, if it's possible, even a short nap would be good. That would integrate things.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank
And
you
you
for the
know, of
space.
course, you don't need to go looking for meaning in it. It just the experience of what happened is just what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still happening. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and lie down. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh,
How was that for you, Lenny?
Um, yeah, well, very familiar because that's what I'm doing also a lot lately. Not all the time. I see it comes in phases. Um, the last days were again like a heavier phase again. So I think I did what she did just the hour before. And I mean, but I really looked in what you guys said and, looking at the relationship I have to that, and I really don't fight it anymore. There's just this feeling of I want to be intimate with it. I want to feel it fully. I don't want to run away from it. Um, so, and also I mean, I'm not doing anything there anyway. It's kind of like a mechanism that just plays
Mm-hmm.
out. So there's nothing else to do. I mean, today there was also so much. And there was this like, I can do this the whole day. So, but every time I try to distract, then it kind of feels like this is a distraction anyway, and it's just like making anything better. So just go with it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I mean, if I can just, I mean, it's not really questions because I think what I also like understood from you somehow is like there's not a question that can be answered. There's just like question that I can ask and like this sitting with the question that and this, and being then with that question is kind of the answer. But if it's okay, I just wanted to talk about something that is like happening right now in my
Yeah,
head.
yeah, fine.
So I think like lately, there is like a lot of, looking into the direct, like in the senses. And there was also like really an understanding that nowhere in seeing there's an I found, and that was a nice experience. But now feel like something is then really um trying to hold on, or like this ego, whatever it is. I don't know,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
meaning,
yeah,
I know
yeah.
no meaning, but still like something is like fighting so hard against it and just yells out. But there is I in still in the in the feeling and the sensations, and now that they're getting so intense, I mean, there's always like this thought like, see, you feel something, and that is in a body. And especially like if feeling and seeing come together, it really creates something that feels like an I, even, yeah, if I just let this through and say like, fuck this, like the more you attach to this, then the more you make it again an entity. So but yeah, then now there's almost like a compulsive looking into the feeling sense, and And again, like always, like a thought is like, see, but there is something. It's kind of like a mysterious feeling in the chest and your behind your eyes, and that is a you. And just saying that is not is also just a
Hmm.
thought concept. So you're fleeing into concepts, maybe, so yeah, so it's sometimes I can observe those things, but they sometimes feel very real. And yeah, and being in the struggle of like just observing, but then the realness of them is sometimes really hard to sit with.
So
Yeah.
if you were to be really accurate about what you're describing, would you be saying that there is definitely something that feels like an I there? Is that what you would be saying? Yeah. Now,
In that sense,
now,
yeah.
what if I said to you, that's fine. That is perfectly fine. Of course, there'll be something that feels like an I. Now, the like an I part of it is when the story turns up. The feeling that you're interpreting is there. It is a feeling. There's no question about that feeling. It does exist. It's the mind that says, "Oh, this must be an I," or "This feels like an I would feel." This feels
Mm.
like that's a story that gives meaning to the feeling. Right? Now that is
Mm.
also there, but it's a story. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that it's a story. It is what it is. It's a story. The feeling is what it is. It's a feeling. And the two
Mm.
together, do they really belong together? Are they attached to each other?
Not really, no. No.
But they feel like they are. That's also true, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the thing is, this feeling just sometimes is like so, it stays a little longer. So it kind of, I feel like I'm always like in the after effect of this feeling. And even though I even have had this little, tiny little insight, no, they're actually not. The feeling then still stays longer than the inside is. And that sometimes makes it that this feels more real than the other, because, yeah, just maybe
Mm.
just of the time frame it takes in. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. So one of the things that weren't here then, but I was talking to Kat earlier on, and one of the things I said to her seems relevant to you now, and that is that because this is a relatively new experience for you, the newer it is, the more frequently the old stuff intrudes. It comes through from before because we're
Mm.
still learning our way around this new world. And the old familiar stuff has a definite stickiness to it because it is familiar. Right? And so it's likely to intrude more frequently in the early days, and later give yourself some time and it will happen less and less, and then it will hardly happen at all. But it probably will still happen. It still happens for me a bit,
Mm.
but it doesn't mean anything, it just ends up being just a feeling, and so what is the way, but for you it's a bit more than so what at this stage. But it will be. It's just because it's new, that's all.
And can I talk about one more thing that also just
Yes.
happened like, yesterday evening, and also is, I mean, again, something that now plays out and no one there to, you know, do anything, but it's yeah, just it would be just so nice to share. So probably because of all this, de-identifying and like this, and like, no, 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 there is a you. There is a you. And that is now saying like, see, but
Sure. Yes.
um now it is kind of like there was this entire idea coming up. Well, if there is no you, why do you feel vanity? Why do you have a need to be actually young and pretty. And that also reaches or like touches then now a sensitive point, because I feel like, the first signs of aging are, or even more than the first ones, and this does hurt a woman that used to be young and pretty. And I'm very ashamed about this entire matter.
Oh, don't be ashamed about it. Yeah, yeah. I often say people are still young enough to think they know everything. That's just a crazy thing, Yeah. Look, I feel privileged, I'm almost 78 years old, and I feel really privileged to be this old. And I feel I'm smiling and I'm laughing, but I feel a bit sorry for you being so young and pretty. You've got a big burden to carry
Yeah,
with that.
and I really
Yes.
noticed this is now starting, and this is going to be a big identification that has always been, and now yeah, and it will always be like a little bit of a trap, because losing beauty and losing youth is a huge probably matter of being human as it is. So there it was then now this idea that kind of popped up, and now is staying like, then, well, if there is no you, at some point you should be able to look in the mirror and not feel so attached to this anymore. So right now there's like a constant urge to look into the mirror and be fine with what I see, and I'm not. And I try to do like
Mm.
an accepting of everything, like in various layers, in the situation, and the feelings that come up, and the resistances that come up, um and even the resistances to the resistance. And I don't know, it's
Yep.
still
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
almost possible and too much.
You'll get over
And
it.
yeah, so I don't
You
even
will.
know. Now there is this feeling like I don't know if I should proceed or not, but then also like I'm not doing anything, and it's like kind of like today it feels like I'm getting cornered in any way, especially with
Yeah.
this new.
Yeah. Mm. Oh, yeah.
I cannot do anything. I mean, just what happens happens, and if the
Yeah. Yeah. You
mirrors
know that. You know
up
you yeah.
picked up, and yeah, so it's like I just know there's like a few shitty days ahead of me.
Mm.
And shitty is also like, I don't know, a meaning that I'm giving, but it's really
Yep. Yeah.
because I had days where there were like waves of crying and contraction, but they were not at all a problem. If anything, they felt even releasing
Mm.
and even nice. But today there's like again stories attached to them, and these strings are very, very strong still. And I just hope it's gonna be like the last times when there was the same thing, and then those strings got less and less. But these days where they're still strong, they fucking suck. They fucking suck.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
but things that I could share.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Look, I don't look. I feel bad about laughing. That I do get how painful it is for you. Um, but my laughter is shouting out that yeah, you'll get over this.
You
It
say it again, because like now you got stuck. You're
will,
still stuck.
it's,
You're still
it,
stuck.
it's a temporary phase. You'll go through. You, you will get over it. Will you have what it takes? You're very comfortable in your skin, whatever it looks like. take this from a wise old man. You will be very comfortable in your skin, whatever it looks like.
Yeah.
These, you could call these growing pains if you like.
Mhm. Mhm. Um, but I mean, maybe like one advice, like I mean, you probably have never hit that hard because like you always say like in various sessions, you never had it like that crazily painful. But I mean, if there's a really strong urge to distract, would you just go with it, or because like sometimes it really feels like too much, and then I don't know if it's a pattern of myself like to.
Yeah. If I mean, I had my pain when I was young too, you know, but it was never because I was beautiful. But nevertheless, I know of the pain for sure. Um, if you've got a strong inclination to distract, you'll have a strong inclination to distract. I imagine you will also see that's the case, right? Don't resist anything.
Okay.
You know, if you want to distract, distract. But if you're seeing it happen, that's good value. If you don't see it happen, well, you can't control that anyway, can you?
I see it happening now all the time. I just feel like already so
Yep,
tired
do it.
sometimes.
Go with it. Don't resist it. That just adds something else.
Okay.
Do it and watch, and then it will
Okay.
change. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, I don't have any questions anymore. I actually don't have any questions at the time at all. I just come here for, listening to
Yes,
you guys.
that's fine. Thank you, Lenny. I do. Oh, look, I appreciate it, and other people get value out of what you say as well. So yeah, I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you
Yeah,
do, really. I didn't even
no
do this
worries.
even more
You're welcome.
possible.
You're welcome. All right. I need to go now too, actually. I'll see you all later.